The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, today on Aging Horizons we have a very special guest with us from CSI, the Commissioner of Securities and Insurance, and it's Susan Brown, and she's going to be talking with us about a lot of things that go hand in hand with Medicare and other kinds of benefits that seniors and adults with disabilities might have and might need help talking about, so stay tuned.
With as many as 1 in 10 Americans at risk for Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia, chances are someone you know and love will receive that diagnosis. When that happens, you may well feel devastated, but know that you are not alone. Help is available. You don't have to face dementia by yourself. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
It's been 27 years. I never thought I'd still be smoking, but here I am, COPD and all. I'm about to have a granddaughter. There's so much to show her, but I'm scared I won't be able to keep up like I used to. I kind of gave up on myself on quitting, but it's different now. I want to be here for her and for my daughter.
Summer in Montana is a great time to visit your local farmer's market. Enjoy the social atmosphere while shopping for a wide variety of fresh, locally grown produce. Together with both WIC and Senior Farmers Market nutrition programs, you help feed your family 5 or more daily servings of fruits and vegetables for better health. You also help local ag producers and enhance the state's economy. So, for summer fun that's nutritious and helps Montana's economy, shop at your local farmer's market.
I'm Attorney General Tim Fox. Nowadays, all of you have to worry about cybersecurity. Something as simple as visiting pirate websites can put your computer at risk. Hackers use pirate websites to infect your computer and steal your ID and financial information, or even take over your computer camera without you knowing it. Don't let hackers into your house. Be careful with the websites you visit and warn your kids on how to stay safe online. To learn more, visit my website.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimi Everman, and as I said up top, we are having a great guest with us today from the CSI, or the Commissioner of Securities and Insurance, Susan Brown. Susan, welcome.
Oh, thank you.
It's great to have you. Now, Susan, you are a compliance specialist, and you're in policy holder services over at CSI. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about CSI, I guess, because I've worked with you guys for so many years. I really know the importance of where you fit into our daily lives. You want to talk a little bit just about what your agency is all about?
Well, absolutely. Within our capacity, I work in policyholder services, and we're not just limited to Medicare. Our staff are divided into 2 teams. I work on a team that manages life, health, and some annuities. The rest of our team deals with auto, homeowners, renters insurance, things that are really important to people. We're a diverse group.
Certainly.
Lots of experience in the office. Many of us come from both insurance and agency backgrounds.
Yeah.
You'll know us well, not just during enrollment for Medicare, but if you've had a hailstorm, our folks are there to help you. We field a lot of things. We deal a lot with complaints. Folks often reach out to us at that point when they have a complaint or need assistance, but they can also call us to discuss just general policy or insurance issues.
Right. And I think it's important that we at this juncture talk a bit about and we'll talk about this some more, but your authority lies with agents, really, not with companies. Is that correct?
Well, companies are accountable to us also, but
Certainly.
we do have oversight over agents, and that's important. In today's world, so many people are dealing with agents either online or over the phone, sometimes unsolicited, and they have questions, so they can certainly reach out to us if they have an agent name and they want us to research and confirm that they're actually licensed within the state.
Right. Yeah, and I think, one of the things that we've always talked with our folks, our seniors about is that, if an agent gets aggressive or something like that, to just let someone know so that we can have some discussions and make sure that everybody knows they're on the same page. And that's the kind of stuff we could do if we had a situation. We could call you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's not getting anybody in trouble. That's just, let's talk about how this all happened, and this person isn't wanting services. So, we just want to make sure that it doesn't move on to yet another person.
Yes,
right?
yes, and we appreciate that. I mean, for us, when a consumer calls with information, that is often our first notification there's a problem. And we appreciate that because we track that information, we take it very seriously, and we do represent consumers. We are a consumer protection agency.
Certainly. Now, let's focus on Medicare, or the Medicare piece of your puzzle anyway, in terms of open enrollment has come and gone, and people are in their, their drug plans and things like that now. Is that something they should call you about?
Well, our authority, unfortunately, is limited to Medicare supplement plans. We have no regulatory authority over traditional Medicare, Advantage, or even the Part D plan. And with Advantage, it gets a little bit confusing because quite often our information, I believe, is printed on some of the documentation they receive. But we are your med supplement people, and everything else goes to CMS.
And sometimes it kind of baffles a person why the number is on there that's on there, because honestly, when we advocate for beneficiaries, we always say, have you talked to the company? First and foremost, have you been able to have that conversation? And that's kind of where we start, and then we'll maybe reach out after that to start having a few conversations and see if we can meet in the middle or something. But I think it's important that folks know, they might call me sometimes thinking I can do something that I can't at the state office, and it's kind of the same way with CSI. You're only in charge of so many things.
Correct, and certainly if they call us and we can't offer assistance, we will refer them to the appropriate agency.
Yep, absolutely. Us too. No wrong door, right?
Right.
And in your area, Susan, of the policy holder services, what kinds of things are you responsible for in that area?
Within policyholder services, I mean, we're going to have a working knowledge of the products we regulate. We, again, answer consumer questions on products. We have a lot of resources available to us, but the big thing we help with are complaints. And consumers can certainly call us at any time. We're there to listen, to answer, offer any kind of guidance we can. We don't offer advice, but we can certainly explain to you what the process is.
Right. Well, and especially when it comes to insurance products, that can be quite overwhelming to sit down with your policy and try to figure out what comes next if you've had an issue. Is that something somebody could call you on? I just don't know what to do next. My barn burned down.
Well, they can certainly call our department, and one of our team members can go through that. We certainly understand the policies and can go through it with the consumer. Sometimes it's confusing. You may find reference in multiple sections of a policy and you're trying to understand it, or you've received a response and you don't understand why it's applicable.
Right, great. Well, folks, we're going to talk a whole lot more about CSI and the kinds of services that they're offering to our community, and especially about Med Sups and Medicare Advantage. You'll want to know, so stay tuned.
I was diagnosed with diabetes in 1992, and I went into denial. It made me angry. I was a professional chef, and I didn't want to change my eating style. It took me a long time to get serious about managing my health. My perspective changed from resentment to one of loving my body, the container for my spirit. Getting help from my diabetes educator supported my goals of improved self-care. I want to feel good and have a great life. My diabetes educator helps me do this.
Good care is your right. In Montana, there's over 11,000 beds in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. If you or a family member needs assistance or help in obtaining information about care issues and placement options, call 1-800-332-2272. If you or a family member need information about Montana's long-term care resident rights, or if you need help solving a problem or a complaint about a nursing home or an assisted living facility, call us at 800-332-2272.
If you give or receive care, you already know that it can cause stress on caregiver and receiver alike. The good news is, if you have limited resources, help is available. The Montana Lifespan Respite Program may be able to help you pay for care while you take a break. Even better news is how easy it is to apply. You can get an application online or have one sent to you. We'll get back to you within 5 working days. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
If the Aging Network in Montana was a restaurant, the sign out front would say, over 50 million meals served over the last 30 years. Since adequate nutrition is critical to health and quality of life, nutrition services are an important factor in keeping older Montanans healthy, independent, and living in their community and home. To find out more about senior nutrition programs in your area, call 1-800-551-3191.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here with Susan Brown today talking this segment about Medicare supplements. Let's talk about those. Big product for many seniors on Medicare or adults with disabilities on Medicare. That's an area that your office is very expert in, is the SUPs, and I absolutely want to know what's going on with the comparison guide, because that comparison guide's been around quite a few years. It's been very, very helpful, but you said there's some changes this year.
Oh yes, we've made quite a few changes. Well, you know, on the Medicare supplements, we have the consumers who decide, as opposed to maybe sticking with traditional Medicare or even choosing an Advantage product, they want a supplemental plan, something to offset the out-of-pocket costs they have. And supplements are in the news because there are major changes coming this year. Macro changes are big, and macro, of course, is the Medicare Access and CHIP Reorganization Act of 2015. There are really only two things that I think are relevant for the purpose of conversation. The first one was the issuance of the new Medicare cards.
Yes.
And the changes with the format for the Medicare ID number. That, interestingly enough, the reason they did that is if you lost your card, it was linked to your Social Security number, and it's kind of hard to deactivate your Social Security number. But with the new alphanumeric sequence, you lose it, you call, they can cancel it and reissue you a new card, and that's really important. But besides the card, what is interesting is the definition of newly eligible folks and what plans you can enroll in for a guaranteed issue. So for those who were born, and it is determined by your date of birth, not when you may be eligible for Medicare.
Oh, okay.
So if your date of birth falls on or before 12/31 of 2019, you would still be offered Plan C and Plan F as guarantee issue. Your date of birth is 1/1/2020 or later, then you no longer have eligibility for C or F. It will change to both D and G, and of course there is going to be a G high deductible plan.
Okay. That is a big change.
It is a big change. A lot of folks preferred Plan F because, of course, you had no out-of-pocket for your deductibles.
Right.
Going forward, there is no guarantee that, first dollar payment is what they call it. So you're now going to have to be responsible for your Part B deductible.
Yeah, and F, it seemed to me like F was sort of a Midland plan that people really tended to like because of what you just said.
Well, and they did, and it was interesting. You know, probably a year ago there was misinformation. Some folks were nervous about possibly losing F and were trying to switch plans and subjecting themselves to underwriting. There was actually no need for that. As long as your date of birth, or your eligibility to, if you were disabled, is prior to 12/31/2019, then you always have the option to choose C or F, and those are guaranteed issue plans.
Okay.
You know, currently you can get Plan G during your initial enrollment, but if you have a guarantee issue right, G is not guaranteed issue currently. Will be going forward in 2020.
It will be.
Correct.
Okay. And what about guaranteed issue with the other A, B, C?
Well,
C. Let's get C out of there.
Yeah.
I got to remember that.
Well, there is no C is still a valid plan. I mean, it's just for guaranteed issue. Again, if you're going beyond 2020, you can choose every plan but C and F. However, if your date of birth, your eligibility was prior to 12/31/2019, you can still have C and F, and you can have the other plans. You're just going to be subject to underwriting.
Yeah. And that's, explain just a little bit, if you would, Susan, what does it mean to be underwritten?
Well, when you're going through your initial enrollment or you have guarantee issue, your pre-existing medical conditions don't factor in. If you're going to make changes, you're choosing a plan that doesn't have guarantee issue, then they're going to evaluate your medical history and make a determination if they want to offer the product to you. Consumers shouldn't be alarmed. I mean, just because one company turns you down doesn't mean that another one might not. We all target the plans that have the best premiums, and sometimes that doesn't happen. Right.
And I'm glad you said that, because it doesn't, one no doesn't mean everyone will tell you no. You just have to keep sort of chipping at it.
They do. You may want to reach out to an agent. I mean, it's a new world out there for these folks, and a lot of our seniors are not necessarily tech savvy or don't use computers, and I think that's kind of an oversight, because a lot of people still enjoy that one-on-one contact with someone.
And I'm glad you mentioned agents, Susan, because I often forget to mention how great agents are. I talk about ship counselors all the time. They're fabulous folks, but maybe you have a relationship with a agent. Maybe you've worked with this person for years and years. It doesn't matter. If you want to work with an agent, they're very good agents out there and can help that person find what they need as well.
That's right.
Correct.
That's right. And I'm glad you mentioned agents. With the new programs that are coming out, the new plans, G and D offerings, the agents know that they cannot sell Plan C or Plan F to anyone who has eligibility, date of birth, or by disability after 1/1/20. If they do, they can be subject up to 5 years in prisons and a $25,000 fine per occurrence. So I don't think we're necessarily going to be looking at that as an issue for consumers, but they need to be aware. It's governed by your date of birth.
Right. And that's very simple and easy to understand. You have a date. There's nothing else involved. There's just that's what you go by, and that should be pretty simple for most folks, I hope.
It should be. But love to talk about our comparison guide. That's an annual publication, and the comparison guide has kind of changed over years.
Well, let's talk about it in our next segment, because we're out of time.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
Questions about Medicare and other types of insurance? Contact the State Health Insurance Assistance Program office to get answers to questions like, what is the difference between Medicare and Medicaid, and how do you decide if you need Medicare supplemental insurance? This insurance counseling program is not a sales program. It is available to provide answers to your insurance questions. For more information, call the State Health Insurance Assistance Program office at 1-800-332-2272.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Aging Horizons, and we're here with Susan Brown of the CSI, or Commissioner on Insurance, Securities and Insurance, sorry. Susan, we were talking about Medicare supplements, and you guys at CSI have a comparison guide that is fabulous. Can you talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. The comparison guide is produced annually, usually comes out the latter part of July, first part of August. It is limited to the companies who respond to our survey. So you're looking at a comparison that at the time of publication is accurate. It gives us permission to post their rates. The guide has changed a little bit though. We now have historical data for the last 3 rate periods.
Nice.
Which is really a good tool for consumers because quite often they're looking at a product with a really reasonable premium and they're going, well, maybe how do I know they're going to have a rate increase, or if so, what is it like? And so this data is now available for them to look at, and I'm hoping it's a useful tool. I really advocated for something like this, and it's a great tool. In general, the consumers need to know, though, that if they look at this comparison guide, that the companies file for their rate increases at different times of year. So they may be looking at something today, and the premium increase may occur after open enrollment. That's why the tool is useful to look at the historical data. The tool is available either online at our website, csint.gov, or if they call our office, we're certainly happy to mail them a copy of the comparison guide.
Yeah, well, I can say personally that I used it for many years, and it's a great guide in advocating and counseling for folks, and it gives a really nice visual idea of what it might look like to write that check out. You know, I mean, you want to get an idea of what it's going to cost you, and you see all the different companies, and it's just a great comparison tool. It really is.
It is. One thing that may be a little bit confusing is the primary comparison guide only goes up to age 73. We do have spreadsheets that will break it down all the way to age 99 for folks who want to take a look at that. And if they have difficulty understanding it, certainly give us a call. We can, again, mail them anything they want, and if they want us to email it, we can email it.
Super. Well, that's MedSups. Let's talk a little bit about Medicare Advantage plans as well, because I know that you all have a few things to do with that as well.
We do and we don't.
Yeah, right.
Medicare Advantage plans, unfortunately, are not within our scope of authority. So we don't regulate. If you have a complaint, you would have to direct that through basically CMS. But there are a lot of changes that are coming with Medicare Advantage plans in the coming year. Now, I don't know whether this is going to impact the 2 products that are available in Montana. At this point, it would be both Blue Cross Blue Shield of Montana Medicare Advantage and the Humana Medicare Advantage plans. Innovative benefits are on the horizons. Folks might like those. The innovative benefits, though, seem to be targeting those with chronic illnesses, which is a good thing. You know, they'll be working with you. One of the disadvantages may be that if you're excited that there may be an innovative benefit available, there's not a guarantee you're going to qualify. The companies don't have to make that determination until you're enrolled and you opt into that particular product. So it can be a little bit confusing. Again, it's be knowledgeable as to what's out there and understand the process, because, you know, to make a choice if you think there are benefits available and learn they're not going to be provided, you're kind of locked in.
Absolutely. That's some very good advice, Susan. And, you know, again, advocating with Medicare beneficiaries, you sort of learn to think of those things, and that's a new one for my list too, is to, you know, make sure paying attention, and those innovative benefits may or may not be something that I can get or I'm even eligible for.
That's right. And so again, you know, if you're dealing with an agent, the agent should be accurately representing this information. Can't emphasize enough, if someone's working with an agent, especially a lot of folks call us and indicate they're receiving unsolicited phone calls, and their information is out there on a master list that, you know, agents can call from. And when it's someone in a different part of the country, they get concerned. You know, good advice is call us. We can verify licensure, confirm the product availability, and, you know, give you the most information so you can make an informed decision.
That sounds wonderful. You know, I think before we close today, I want to have another bit of a discussion about the authority that y'all work with, because it's important. We want to make sure that the community gets all the benefits and services, but they got to know what they are and how they work.
Oh, absolutely. So within my department, we handle health. We do life insurance. We address the long-term care issues. These are issues that, you know, seniors have concerns over. They can certainly call us. Life insurance, you know, if you've had a relative or someone recently pass away and you can't find a policy, there's a policy locator service that's free. It's available through the NAIC, National Association of Insurance Commissioners. We can put them in contact. Well, it's not in contact, it's strictly online, but they can utilize that. We have long-term care comparison guide. We can answer questions, and likewise complaints on these products come through our office. You know, our authority, if you're on a governmental plan, it could be Medicare, it could be Medicaid. We don't have authority over that, but, you know, give us a call if you're in question.
And, you know, one thing that I've always seen working with CSI staff is that you guys have wonderful talents at reaching out and having conversations that don't have to be a, you know, official every single time. We're just talking as community providers, and it seems like we work it out. So it's great to live in a state like Montana.
Oh, it is.
Susan, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope you'll come back soon and tell us some more about some of those changes. And folks, we've had a great day today. Hope you learned something. I know I did. We'll see you next time.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.